to certain people, and I'll say certain words, but I don't have hatred in my heart when I say it. It's more along the line of trying to get away with some crazy shit.
Right. Yeah.
I just don't understand the other people's mindsets, like this crazy pissing excellence woman. She somehow just
she's insane, isn't she?
Why can't she sever her relationship with this insane lunatic? I can tell you from miles away that this pissing excellence is an absolute. If I approached her, I asked her once in one of her lives, "Do you hate blacks or Jews?" And she was like on panel with Yaxley. I asked them both. I said, "Do you and Yaxley hate blacks and Jews?" And they said, "Oh yeah, we don't hate them." Bull fucking shit. Bull fucking shit, lady. Okay, bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds legit. Dude on the internet. Stupid o'clock. Fucking raging at females online. You can imagine that he was pretty angry when he come and confronted us.
To certain people, and I'll say certain words, but I don't have hatred in my heart when I say it. It's more along the line of trying to get away with some crazy shit.
Right. Yeah.
I just don't understand the other people's mindsets, like this crazy pissing excellence woman. She somehow just
she's insane, isn't she?
Why can't she sever her relationship with this insane lunatic? I can tell you from miles away that this pissing excellence is an absolute. If I approached her, I asked her once in one of her lives, "Do you hate blacks or Jews?" And she was like on panel with Yaxley. I asked them both. I said, "Do you and Yaxley hate blacks and Jews?" And they said, "Oh yeah, we don't hate them." Bull fucking shit. Bull fucking shit, lady. Okay, bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. They do. And her.
Yeah. Do you want to address Granny Fanny in the chat? I can address it.
There's Granny Fanny.
Do you want me to address it?
Yeah, what's his name then?
He's in the chat. That's the guy who shared that post about Palestine.
Well, Amy and Granny Fanny, right, let me read what he's saying. Hey guys, I'm just interested in knowing how you two feel about Jews, blacks or anyone else. Well, I can tell you, I don't care what anybody looks like. My daughter's mixed race, and I'm pretty dark myself. I don't care what anybody looks like or anything like that. There are two exceptions to that rule. I care about people starving Palestinian babies and beheading them and burning them alive in tents whilst accusing Palestinians and Hamas of doing that, when there is no evidence and that story has actually been redacted, even by the then president, I think it was George Bush, wasn't it, the last one? Was it Bush? No, it was the last one, Biden. Even though Biden accepted that it was a false story and that was planted, that's number one. I have an issue with anybody who does that. I have an issue with people who can go to a land that they've been welcomed in because nobody else on the planet wanted them, and that they can then take the kindness of those people, evict them from their own homes, and even murder them to take their homes. Picture that now. You're sat with your kid, watching TV, and some big ass cunt can come in, no matter what they look like, and they can tell you to get out of your house. And when you call the police will stand there and watch you being evicted from your house. I got issues with that. Why? What's your issues?
I don't know, Granny Fanny. You're probably better off asking me questions, because I could be here for 2 hours explaining politics. Yeah, Tracy's not really a big fan of it.
I'm going to fucking let off. I'll kick him from the panel. If he starts his politics up, he's going.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, Granny Fanny. I am politically anti-war. I don't believe in the two-party system, whether it's Britain, Labour, Conservative, or America, Democrats and Republicans. I think they're both controlled by the powers that be, and I think they both give the illusion of choice, propped up against each other. I think there's a single agenda. If you want to move on to the Middle East, I think that the government of Israel and the government of Saudi Arabia and the government of Britain and the government of America and the government of Canada and the government of France and the government of Germany are all fucking with innocent people over there. That includes innocent Jewish people who want to live in peace in Israel. But
if you showed me a Chinese person or a Vietnamese or an Israeli or an American or an Irish, no matter what, if you showed me images of them being displaced and then the tents that they're in caught on fire, while this, for instance, one boy had no legs and couldn't get out of bed, and his mother sat next to him and burnt to death because she wouldn't leave him. I don't care what fucking colour the person is who does that. They're a cunt. Does that help you? I hope it does.
I think that westernised governments use Wahhabism that's been born out of Saudi Arabia to terrorise not only the Middle East, but also most European and American, most European countries in America. How we can be in bed, actually, funny, ironically, I tracked Crown Prince bin Salman coming home from America this morning on my tracker on his big fucking plane that's made of gold. How we can be in bed with a regime as brutal as that is beyond belief. We claim to be interested in peace in the Middle East, yet Bahrain, Jordan and Saudi Arabia, who are our closest allies over there, are the most brutal strands. We knew full well what was going to happen to Libya when we got rid of Gaddafi. We knew full well what was going to happen when we got rid of Saddam Hussein from Iraq. We knew full well what was going to happen to Syria when we ousted Assad. The Arab League for many years has tried to find
That's you 10 seconds away from being booted off my panel.
The Arab League have tried to find a two-state solution historically, and unfortunately, people who don't actually have any vested interest in terms of the region living there peacefully, they're more interested in resources, oil and control, have been the ones that have stopped that happening.
Actually, I'm on my third drink.
Is there anything else you need to know?
There we go. That's as much as you're sidetracking us. Ask us on another stream, or why don't you pop on one of my many posts about Israel and Palestine?
Send me an email.
I feel that was like an attention.
Yeah, it was. But,
yes, and I feel it was a bit of a diversion. So for that reason,
let me say this. I am against the government of Israel having an influence in the Middle East, oppressing innocent civilians, whether they're Muslim or Jewish or Christian. It's as simple as that. Because I'll tell you now, there's 9 million Jewish people living in Israel, and they're not too keen on their own government either. And with that, we'll move on.
Yes.
And by the way, the attack that happened at the synagogue the other week in Manchester was literally 5 minutes, an area where I live. I know many, many people who live there who are Jewish, and it was horrendous. I'm going up there on Tuesday of next week.
I don't give a rat's ass about any of it.
No, there we go. Let's move on. So I will be going to pay my respects to that synagogue.
Once I saw two things, the little girl hanging on the fence with no legs and the mother sitting next to her crippled son on fire, I'm a little bit hardened now. You're going to have to show me something that competes with that.
Can I just say one more thing? Can I just say one more thing? Going back to the synagogue attack that happened in Manchester the other week, there's two things that I question. First of all, some of the armed response vehicles were Welsh, because they clearly had head glue on and not police. They were Welsh. Also, SAS helicopters landed in a field nearby, so the SAS to be on standby for something as unplanned as that, I think there was foreknowledge that someone was going to attack those Jewish people in that synagogue. Those two components.
Well, if you watched, I'll send you a good video later by Double Down Media, but...
Okay, so let's move on. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, but a quick one on that note. Every time Netanyahu says, you are in this fight with us, it's us against them, and you will be sorry, and you're opening up the gates, there's always a false flag. So that's how I see it, and that's it.
I have all kinds of health issues myself.